you have been a consistent, as you said, not critic, but a skeptic. Maybe the word is to say skeptic of this scheme. Do you want to come in? By the way, as we speak, of course, there is reports coming in of an army truck ambushed by terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. So, every day we are dealing with security challenges. Go ahead, Commodore.
You see, I would say that the regular troops have got a better motivation, better indoctrination, better training for battlecraft in a war. You need different people. Now we have Agniveers. Their first of all training is very short, and their motivation, they're looking out at 12 lakhs, which are going to get after 4 years. Thereafter, probably they have their plans to go in for business or start their own business or do something else. Whereas a regular guy, a regular troop who comes into the service, get the full training and is motivated, as I was telling earlier, his mindset is different. He is there out to defend the country. He is out there with the loyalty. His passion is different. We have examples in our, heroes who are at the age of 44, 45, have won the Veer Chakras and Paramveer Chakras and whatnot. So therefore, to say that only the people who are of the age less than 25 will be able to fight better, I don't buy that idea. I think the people who have put in 15, 16, 20 years service, they are equally good when it comes to war. In fact, they're more matured with the battle. They're more what you call battle-hardened people. Because when it comes to, laying down your life, as I said, the transaction is different. It is not scientific or that knowledge or all that.
I think we all agree
on
with
the
that.
other side of the river. It is laying down your life, and you are on the other side of the river. You are not here then. So it's different. That's what I want
to as a journalist whose entire life was shaped and formed by reporting a war that transformed me forever. I hear you. I agree with you. I think we all agree with you on the passion of our forge. General Shukla, briefly, then I will go to Dr. Augustine. Yeah, General Shukla.
See this point that Commodore is making about short service and all. So I'm a NDAI, regular guy, a very proud NDAI, but will I concede that the short service officers in my battalion were as good, or in my regiment? Of course they were. In combat and also, these distinctions really do not hold true right through. We have had short service, great guys. I can recall their names today, VP Singh and so on and so forth. So let us look at our experiment with other entries. When the TES started, the technical entry scheme, we were very skeptical about it. When I was the army commander, many of the TES officers were doing far better than NDA. And why? Because NDA has chosen not to relook at itself to reform. So an iconic institution like NDA, unless you continuously reform, there are other cadres, other entries pushing to do well. So therefore, I constantly say change, please change.
Okay. Dr. Augustine?
On what General Shukla said, and probably you took a little bit of wind out of my sail. Quickly, I'll come to a couple of quick points. Like I said, I'm sure you have an opinion and you have a data. Sometimes what happens is the data shapes your opinion if you are open to shaping your opinion with the data. And let me give the data. And I did that slide a while ago. While interacting with these Agniveer children, some of them were from very well-to-do family, Barka, and they did not need these 14 lakhs like Commodore is saying. They did not need it. And offline, I talked to you. Remember that big industrialist I was talking about and his son? He roams around in Bentley and whatnot. And he said, Gusty sir, if I had an option when I was young that I could serve my country for 4 years or 5 years in the Agnipath scheme, even as Jawan, I would today happily do it. So that is the kind of, pack, that is the kind of people, young people we have. And you saw it in Kargil, the ones who went up the hill, did they go for 14 lakhs? So that argument is completely, I do not subscribe to it, A. B, and most importantly, what General Shukla said, the polity gives us certain directions based on larger scheme of things, which is nation and other, compulsions in place, other requirements in place. Whereas in the armed forces, we have a very, I wouldn't say narrow, but very focused vision. So when polity gives us a certain direction, it is incumbent upon, especially when you are in the senior position like chiefs, etc., to be a little flexible, to understand that, assimilate that, and put it into practice, which we did, and we did it wonderfully. Over to you, Bakar.
Okay, I think let me give the last word to General Yadav. If anyone wants to come in briefly after that with any concluding thoughts, we'll do that. General Yadav, this book, again, I think everybody has made the point, none of us have read it, right? We have what's come out in the media. I did
It
reach
is
out
not out.
to...
So how can we read it, Barkha? It's not out.
अब मैं वही बोल रही हूँ कि जो excerpts
Correct.
मीडिया में आए हैं वही पढ़े हैं जो what publishers have released. I did reach out to General Naravane and he said he'd like to wait a while before he speaks up. I think he doesn't want to wade into a politicized argument, and I can understand that. General Yadav, any last thoughts?
My last thought is, you see, it takes minimum 6 to 7 years to train a Jawan who's actually starts contributing towards the battle craft. And in that, you see, it is not only the basic training that we are giving it to Agniveer. There are certain restrictions for them to get onto battalion support weapons or other weapons like that. You see, we are looking for a Jawan who's good individually in his weapon. That is number one. Secondly, he is tactically oriented in a tactical situation, how he has to react. And thirdly, he has to be part of a team, tactical team, from a section to a platoon to a company. That thing takes time. You have to do number of exercises, lot of training that goes in, and for that I think 3 years actual service in the unit is not adequate. So we are not utilizing the potential of the Agniveers. They are doing very well. This is what my input is. They are on the move. They are, in fact, one of the commanding officer told me they're better than the earlier recruits. Reason is very simple, that they are competing with themselves and their counterparts every day. There is a pressure on them to perform, otherwise they will be out. But it is a good scheme, but it needs a
Change it.
little relook.
Okay, I have to close. General Shukla, I think what we're hearing is give them more time in the forge. Retain more for longer. I think is what both of the skeptics, as it
Yeah,
were,
so
are
see,
saying.
this is a very important.
Sorry.
Can I come in, Barkha?
Yeah, sure.
Can I come in?
Sure.
See, this is a very important point. Now, see, what is the army getting to do? You are getting to retain 25% of the best. You are not being of the best.
Absolutely.
So, and now this is the point. You see, aaj bhi there is reservation 10% everywhere in all state governments, this, that. It is very cleverly twisted. It is twisted so that it is denied to infantry. They have twisted the rules so that, EME and the other get it. Civilians get it. Now, when we have this 75% option with a strong government who has said that in ministries, we must push and make sure that this 75, at least, or whatever it is, 60% gets done. Now, when you have a trained body in the army going to the civil street, guaranteed jobs, it's win-win for everyone. But it is not one today, it has to be pushed. Now, we must make use of the changed environment when you have political commitment to this. Now, the argument is, देखो पहले नहीं हुआ, पहले तो यार बड़ी चीजें नहीं हुई. But it can't be in the past.
Last line, one line.
अच्छा, आप बोलिए, then मैं जनरल शुक्ला, I'm sure we'll have a last line on that. तो आप बोलिए.
एक ही लाइन बोलता हूं मैं, ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा.
जी.
You see, I want to refer to the old ancient wisdom. A horse and chariots were the symbols of military might. But the wisdom says a horse is prepared for the battle, but the victory lies in the hands of God. So I think the victory lies, or the test lies, when we will actually go out at war. It will not be done here in the studios and in the academies.
Well, I would just like to say that in many situations, we are every day at war. It's not called war, but it is de facto war. We have a massive build-up, eyeball to eyeball, sometimes in eastern Ladakh. We have men fighting at the front line of Kashmir. As we speak, it is happening. And so, while I would never wish war on any soldier, I think I just wanted to say that our men are already fighting that situation. But General Shukla, one very quick question to you. I believe, please, with all humility, that the test, Commodore says war. I think the test will also be when the first batch, the first 25% is retained and the other 75% is let out. What happens to them? That will also be a test. You may have to look and review this scheme at that point. Would you agree with that, General Shukla?
Barkha, it is being reviewed every month. I can now, since you've asked me, I know how concerned the army chief is about its outcome. Very closely reviewed. Since it is being reviewed so intimately, I have full confidence that it will succeed. I have full confidence that it will succeed. And the other issue is, I raised it right in the beginning in a light-hearted manner. What should worry us is the growing power asymmetry with China. Growing. Let's have a debate on that. That is what should occupy the national security mind space. And Mojo will do a wonderful service to the country if it can elevate the debate there. Great things are happening. Great challenges.
That I was just
and
going
that
to
is
say.
where we must focus.
I had already planned to say in the end that we are going to definitely have all four of you back to talk about the issues you have flagged, General Shukla. And indeed, I think by the time General Naravane's book is actually available to all of us to read, I'm sure there'll be many other issues that we will need to talk about, including the challenge from China. And I promised General Shukla that I will be even more enthusiastic than I was today.
No, come on. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just taking the liberty of having known all of you a long time in a light-hearted way entirely. Your feedback is always very well respected and heeded. Thank you very much